Welcome to the Cooper Union. My name is Troy Cogburn. I am the Vice President for Enrollment and get to be among the first of many that get to say congratulations to the students and your loved ones on being accepted to the Cooper Union classes of 2030 and 2031. This is always a great day because I love and enjoy getting to brag about you, the students. This admitted student class hails from 30 states and 13 countries, and 25% are among the first generation in their family to pursue a bachelor's degree. Our School of Architecture admitted 4% of all applicants in the class of 2031, with the admitted student class having an average GPA of 3.8. The School of Art continues to be the national leader in BFA programs, with the admitted student class having an average GPA of 3.5 and an acceptance rate of 11%. And in the Nerkin School of Engineering, where applications have soared by over 80% during the last 5 years, the admitted student class maintained an acceptance rate under 20%, with the average GPA of admitted students being a 4.0. Our enrollment team and the entire Cooper community are excited to meet you and for you to learn what a typical day is like for the Cooper student. For some, that day may begin right here in the historic Great Hall, or it could begin in our studios, laboratories, or workspaces. We hope you're excited to visit every space on campus and engage with our students, faculty, and staff. Before we get started, just a few important notes to keep in mind as you go throughout the day. Please keep your event wristband on throughout the day, as they're required for entry into the reception and throughout the campus buildings. Student Financial Services is available to meet in the Writing Center and the Writing and Learning Center, which is located directly upstairs in the library. If you didn't schedule an appointment for today, you're still welcome to stop by and we can schedule an appointment to meet with a representative early in the coming week. And then finally, 41 Cooper Square is undergoing some repairs and enhancements after a pretty brutal NYC winter. But all of our lab spaces will be fully accessible today, and the building will be fully operational by the fall. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce the 14th president of the Cooper Union, Steven McLaughlin, who would like to come forward and also say a few words of welcome. Steve?
Okay, I'm sure they would not have admitted me into the Cooper Union. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cooper Union for the Advancement of Science and Art. I'm Steve McLaughlin, as I said, the 14th president here at Cooper Union. And I'm absolutely thrilled to see you all here today. We have a saying in my family, tend to the obvious. So that's what I want to do first to kick things off. So believe it or not, I'm feeling probably some of the same things that you all might be feeling, both parents and students. Lots of excitement, maybe some nervousness, and a lot of possibility. You see, I've only been the president here at Cooper Union for about 9 months, and it seems like just yesterday I was actually standing in this same place wondering some of the same things I think that you're probably wondering. What kind of a place is this? What does it value? What kinds of people choose to be here? And how will I fit into this community? Our goal today is to help you begin to answer those important questions. So let me share a few things about what I found to be true about the Cooper Union. Very simply, this college is built for and around you, our students. I've worked in higher education, been at several other institutions for more than 30 years, and I have never, ever witnessed the level of care and attention to students that happens here. That commitment here is a commitment to make sure our academic programs can be transformational for you. It's incredibly, incredibly special. Oh, and you will work hard if you come here. I know that's no surprise to all of you because you've worked incredibly hard to get to where it is you are today. It's paid off so far, and it's going to pay off even more when you choose to come to Cooper. By being admitted to the Cooper Union, you clearly stood out in a very selective and rigorous process, which places you among the brightest, most promising students in the nation. That means you're looking for an experience that will challenge and stretch you beyond anything you have already achieved. It also means that you want to learn, think, practice, and create in new ways. And I'm willing to bet you're excited by the idea of working with a highly accomplished faculty made up of some of the leading minds in architecture, art, engineering, and the humanities and social sciences. And you want to do all of that in a close-knit learning community in a setting where disciplines overlap and collaboration is commonplace, all while taking advantage of living in the greatest city in the world. If that sounds like you, you're in good company, and this is the right place for you. And one of the things we saw is a serious commitment to the pursuit of knowledge as the pathway to becoming something larger than yourselves, what we saw in you. That pathway is the model of learning upon which Peter Cooper founded this institution more than 165 years ago. He understood the task of education not as solely technical or professional, not only theoretical or creative, but rather as a combination of these, directed towards improving one's own life and contributing to the public good. For that reason, he opened the doors of this institution to all people, regardless of race, gender, or economic class. In the 1850s, that was absolutely revolutionary, and it still continues today. It was a radical idea at the time, but Peter Cooper believed that education is instrumental to social progress. You'll find evidence of that belief in every program here, inside and outside of every classroom, every day. That vision also plays out on this stage. This is the Great Hall, which was established as a public forum for New York City and the nation, a place where leading thinkers and innovators, as well as everyday citizens, have shaped the issues and debates of their time. It was here, at this lectern, that Abraham Lincoln made his famous "Right Makes Might" speech, arguing against the expansion of slavery and launching his bid to the presidency. Suffragists like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton advocated and organized here for women's right to vote. Abolitionists like Frederick Douglass rallied the Great Hall audiences in the fight for racial equality, and early meetings to form the NAACP took place right here. And just recently, the Great Hall has welcomed influential figures ranging from artists like Ai Weiwei and our alumnus Daniel Arsham, musicians Patti Smith and Fab Five Freddy, and social activists like Naomi Klein and Malala Yousafzai. Now, let's talk about what your job is while you're visiting with us today. Be curious. Ask the difficult questions. Ask as many questions as you can. Step inside our studios and labs. Get a feel for our campus and our home here in the East Village. Imagine yourself at Cooper. Ask that question, pursuing what you love and uncovering new passions too. I get it. You have a big decision to make. So I'll leave you with this. Admission here is a rigorous process, as you know, but you are the individuals selected as the Cooper Union's next entering class. Thank you again for choosing us for Admitted Students Day. Thank you, parents, family members, friends, and other loved ones for supporting your student. We look forward to welcoming you back here again in August. Thank you and enjoy the day.
Thank you, Steve. Now, before we bring forward our first panelists for the day, I wanted to introduce all of our students and families to the admissions and some of the student financial services representative team members that you've been working with, in some cases for many years, in some cases for many months, and for some of you who you will continue to work with for the next 4 years. Our team is passionate about student support and student success, and today we felt it was the perfect time to place the face and the name. So I wanted to invite our admissions and student financial services team out here to the front to introduce themselves.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Banfield, and I am the Senior Director of Student Financial Services. My office is the primary resource for your funding resources. We're here to help you navigate the FAFSA, scholarships, grants, federal work study, and even your billing and invoices. We're here to help and welcome. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Emmanuel Colby. I'm the Director of Student Financial Services here at the Cooper Union. I work mainly with overseeing student billing and financial aid appeal. I'm also the school certifying official for veteran benefits. So if you see me around and have any questions regarding veteran affairs or veteran benefits, just feel free to stop me next.
Hi, everybody. Congratulations and welcome. My name is Fatima Dalal, and I am the Senior Director of Admissions, and I hope to get to talk to each and every one of you today. I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations. My name is Alicia Miller. I'm the Senior Associate Director of Admissions, and I work with the School of Engineering primarily, so I've read many of your applications, so I'm very excited to meet many of you today. So feel free to reach out to me if you see me in the hallways. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Morella Greenberg. I'm the Senior Assistant Director of Admissions in the School of Engineering. I work primarily with students from Brooklyn, part of Manhattan, Jersey, California, really all over. So it's really nice to meet you all, and please come say hi. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Juan. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions for School of Art. I'm also a proud graduate of the School of Art. Congratulations and welcome to the Cooper Union.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Veza. I'm a senior admissions counselor here at the Cooper Union. I mostly do recruitment in Queens and New Jersey, and I see some very familiar faces here, which is very exciting. And I can't wait to talk to you at the reception. Thank you for getting in, everybody.
Last but not least, I'm Amanda Morales. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions for the School of Architecture. I've gotten to meet a lot of you already, architecture students, and really looking forward to the breakout session with you afterwards. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And now we are done taking up your time and are really just thrilled to invite our students forward for your first session of the day. So with that, I will invite Alpha Kuyate, our Assistant Director of Student Life, and our students.
Hello, hello. Oh, that's loud. How's everybody doing? Good? Sweet. All right. I'm ready. Are y'all ready? All righty. I'm just going to introduce myself real quick. Hello, my name is Alpha Kuyate. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I am the Assistant Director for Student Life here at Cooper, meaning I work with student clubs, orientation, and our program assistants who plan events all across campus. And here we have our student panelists, and they're going to tell you about their experiences and just how it is as a Cooper community member. So I'm gonna have them all introduce themselves. We're gonna start here, and I want you all to say your name, pronouns if you're comfortable, your year, and what school you're from.
Hi, my name is Lamia, and I am studying electrical engineering in the School of Engineering, and I'm a junior. My pronouns are she, her.
Hi, I'm Nora. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a junior chemical engineering student.
Hey guys, I'm Jane Forrest. I'm in the School of Art. Look at this Peter Cooper on a stick I got backstage. My pronouns are she, her. I'm in my 3rd year. Is that everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Sheikh. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a junior in mechanical engineering in the School of Engineering.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sinclair. I am a senior studying civil engineering, and my pronouns are he, him, his.
Hi, everyone. I'm Benny. I'm a first-year computer science student and in the School of Engineering, and my pronouns are he, him.
Hello, I'm Belinda. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a 4th-year architecture student.
Hey guys, my name's Zakaya. I'm a 3rd-year architecture student, and my pronouns are she, her.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we're going to just jump straight into the panel. So I'm going to ask Zakaya the first question. What drew you to the Cooper Union?
I think the 2 main things that drew me to Cooper, the first one was how small it is. I came from a really small high school. Like, my graduating class was 75 people. And when I got here, my architecture class is 24 people. So it's very small, but I knew going in that architecture was hard, and I wanted a personalized experience, kind of. We do desk crits, and I'm able to get to know professors, and they know me. And the second thing was that printing is free. And my friends at other architecture schools they pay a lot of money for their prints, especially when they do something wrong. So I really liked that that was free.
Hey, nothing wrong with free. Free 99 is my favorite price. All right, so we're gonna jump into the next question. Thank you, Zakaya, for answering. And this one is for Sinclair. How would you describe the Cooper Union community? And what do you do to create a sense of community, for yourself within the student body?
That's a great question. I think I could rant about this for the rest of the time we have, but I'll try to keep it short. I would describe our community as creative and driven. I think those 2 words encapsulate the feelings and the attitude that a lot of our students take towards both their academic and extracurricular activities. When I think about what I personally do to make our school, make our community grow, I'm on the student council. I'm one of the 3 administrative chairs. I have served on multiple civil engineering professional societies, and this past Friday I participated in Cooper Union's first ever Olympic Games, which I participated in the ping pong event, which was really fun. I think when we think about what students can do and what you can bring to the community, our community is strongly defined by what each student decides to do with their time here. Whether that means you stick to academics, you pursue a minor, you invest in the many, many competitions that are student-led. It's all about what you choose to do with your time here. And if you choose to come here as first years, I encourage you to push yourselves to do as many things as you can. Within reason, I might add.
Yeah, no, definitely within reason. Work-life balance is important. And I hear you on the students being driven, even just sitting in the office, students will come in, and I'm just in awe and just like inspired at what you all do. I'm just like, I'm just here on my laptop. Alrighty. Next question we have will be for two people. It'll be for Nora and Lamia, but I'll let Nora answer first. What activities or clubs are you involved with outside of your coursework?
Okay, so there are a couple of things that I think I'm pretty heavily involved in just because they mean a lot to me. I think the first one would probably be our Biomedical Engineering Society. So through BMES, I get to connect with a lot of faculty, alumni, industry professionals, and just other people in the various fields of biomedical engineering, and kind of help facilitate on-ground relationships and connections between students and those individuals so that the students, including myself, can really get a chance to learn about the different disciplines and also get potential internship opportunities and research opportunities and such. And it's been a great way to just learn about everything that biomedical engineering can offer, because you'd be surprised, there's a lot. And then another thing is that I lead our South Asian Student Association, and so or SASA, and so for that, I kind of help organize and plan a lot of cultural events, such as our yearly Diwali parties, chai events, and such. And it's been a really great way to kind of introduce another space outside of academics for the various students so that we can all get some kind of relief from academic coursework, which can be kind of intense sometimes. For example, with our chai events, we usually host those around midterm season and final season, and people can just come and grab a cup of chai and just kind of relax and de-stress a bit. And it's been really sweet and heartening to see how people from different majors, years, and even cultures come together for that shared experience and to kind of enjoy that culture together, especially one that's obviously so important to me as a South Asian student. And then aside from clubs and student orgs, another thing is that I do research with some of the chemical engineering faculty, and I love research, so it's been really awesome for me to kind of explore my own interest in chemical engineering, particularly in material science and such, and to kind of refine my technical skills and just get a better sense of what I can do in my field.
So I would divide my extracurriculars and activities into two categories. I have some related to my academics, and then I also have some that I like to do for fun. For the academics, I help lead the PCB lab, which stands for Printed Circuit Board Lab. It's one of the few completely student-run labs here at Cooper, and we provide assistance to students who have some sort of electrical component in their project, but they don't have that experience, because a lot of our projects are very interdisciplinary and require those electronic components. So besides from providing assistance to students, it also gives me a way to practice my own EE skills, and it gives me the resources and an excuse to build things that I like to do for fun that aren't related to a grade. So just as an example, right now I'm working on designing a PCB piano. So it produces musical notes with a touch keyboard, so instead of classic buttons or keys, you have like touch sensors which serve as the keyboard. And so that's a really fun way, and it's really important to my expertise, my niche in electrical engineering, and it's been very helpful for my internship experiences. Another club that I was part of 2 years ago, last year and freshman year, was the Autonomy Lab, which is a project team where we designed a full-scale autonomous electrical vehicle, and that was really beneficial to me as an underclassman, because in those years you're taking more theory classes, you're not getting as much hands-on experience. So it was a really valuable experience for me to learn those things, and it provided me a whole network of my seniors where I could go and bother them and ask them questions. I would just go up to the lab and just talk their brains off about things that they could teach me, and that was really beneficial to me as an underclassman. And then for my for fun extracurriculars, I started the painting club 2 years ago here at Cooper, and that was just me trying to create a niche for
engineers who also have an interest in painting and in art, and I found a lot of people that are just like that, and I made a lot of relations and connections like that with people who have the same interests as me. And then I also help run the badminton club, where we organize events where we can just head out to Queens or Brooklyn, book some badminton courts, and just play for fun over there. And so that's also a fun way for me to detach myself from the academics here.
Awesome. Thank you both for answering that question. And I like how you divided it into, like more professional type clubs and organizations, and then just for fun. I will frequently log on to like the JAC website to see what clubs are doing. So like it looks like y'all are having a blast. I might swing by the D&D club at some point. I see that they're always doing stuff. All righty. Next question is for Jane. Can you share any interdisciplinary or cross-disciplinary work across the schools?
Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna lie. They're not as connected as they should be, but I think the moments that are really impactful are the humanities classes, and those are like English, philosophy, like a lot of different classes that all three schools have to take together. And I think what it does, it shows really different approaches to like thinking and talking. So like a professor will ask a question, and one of the engineers will be like, "This is the answer," and an art student will be like, "What is an answer?" And it's like, so like you really get to see like different ways of approaching stuff, and you have like really like sometimes it gets heated in like a really productive way, and yeah, so those classes are like truly like actually impactful moments, I think. But I think we all really respect each other, and like sometimes I'll be like freaking out about my sculpture, and then I'll walk by and I see like a math equation that has like the entire alphabet in it. And I'm like, at least I'm not doing that. So it's like, yeah, it's good. Like, and there are a few like shows and projects where like there is collaboration, and I think we're always pushing like for more of that to happen. So like sometimes an art student will have like an idea for like something insane, and they like need the engineering or architecture skills. So like those are opportunities to like work together. And I also think there are classes that like offer the schools like opportunities to mix a bit. Like in the art school you have to take a science class, which like I thought would be horrible, but it was actually interesting. And I know there's ceramics and architecture. Like there are a lot of ways they are informing each other in ways we like don't see all the time. But yeah, we're working on it.
We definitely are. We definitely are. Okay. Thank you so much for answering that question. Next question I have is for Belinda. Can you share key experiences from internships that you've held during your time at Cooper?
So my first architecture internship was with Nader Tarani, the former dean of the School of Architecture at his Boston-based firm, NADA. And I think the small size of the school allows you to really be able to ask your professors to connect you with these opportunities. In my case, I didn't know Nader at all going into this, and I had also never been to Boston, so it was definitely a summer that taught me a lot about adaptability. My time there was mostly spent working on a presentation model for the Otis House Museum, and I quickly realized that this was vastly different from working on a model in an academic context, because now it was equally as important to communicate across people who weren't as involved in the project, or people who had different levels of experience on the model. And so visually making it clear where things were in the process or the timeline was super important. Shout out to a Gantt chart. I learned a lot about different tools to effectively communicate in a professional setting. And I think that across the board, it was a really great experience learning from the different workflows of the people that were at the firm, and being able to bring that back to Cooper, I think enriched my education here. And I think it's important to have internship experience under your belt while you're a student here because of the different perspective it gives you in ways of working and collaboration, but also it exposes you to what practice looks like and how different work cultures are like at different firms, and it will clue you in to how you might want to show up in your chosen field after you're out of school, and what you want to do within it.
No, beautiful, beautiful. No, I like how you were speaking on, workplace culture and like figuring out how you want to show up. Internships can be that like safety net for you, before you dive straight into the real world, So thank you so much. Next question. This one's a little more fun. This one's for Lamia as well. What is your favorite part about going to school in the East Village?
So in my opinion, the East Village is the best part of the city to be a student in. I personally love checking out different cafes, different spots to get matcha, new bakeries, cute stationery stores, and it's always a pleasant surprise to maybe find some place on Instagram and then search it up on maps, and it's only like a 5-minute walk away, like 2 streets away. So that's always really fun exploring outside. And another thing that I like to do is that I feel like I personally sometimes get a little bit too much into my academics where like the only thing on my brain is electrical engineering stuff. So what I like to do is that when our professors give us like a 10-minute break in between our class, I like to just step outside, take a walk, see what's going on in the East Village. And it might be a little bit intimidating to have the city like right outside your door, but the thing about going to Cooper and being part of such a tight-knit community is that coming back to Cooper Triangle, coming back to these 2 buildings always grounds you. It always feels like you're returning back to the people that you know, like the building security, the administration staff. Like, you might not know them personally, but you know who everyone is, how they fit into here. And so that's something that's really valuable while you're in a big city. And I think you get accustomed to living in the city really fast, even if you're like an international student or you're from a small town. Being in this small Cooper community allows you to acclimate better to the city.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love people watching in the East Village. That's probably my favorite thing that I like to do. I'll just stand outside and I'll just look and I'll see, like, people are dressed to the 9s, to the 10s. I'm just like, where are you going? Like, what's? And I was like, it's Tuesday afternoon. Like, I don't know what you're doing. Alrighty. Next question for Sheik. What is your relationship with faculty at a small school like Cooper?
So that's a really big question. I'm sure all of you guys are curious what it's like at a small school. I think Cooper students are posed in a unique position where, since the faculty to student ratio is really small, it serves as this really good opportunity in order to be able to get to know your professors really well, and all your professors really do know each of the students, and since they do know all of the students and they'll watch you grow throughout the years that you do attend Cooper, they really do care about your success. For me, what that looks like kind of is just to shout out to professors that I'm really close with, which are Dr. Wright and Professor Shaw. With Dr. Wright, I work as a part of leadership on motorsports, having weekly meetings with him, and with Professor Shaw, I do exoskeleton research and also like hosting events like the fashion show. So what this has meant for me is that I really get to, they're not only my advisors on like an academic level, but I've felt comfortable enough whenever I'm in their office to not only talk about the projects that I'm working on. They do care about what else is going in your life, and that's really important to them in order to see yourself succeed as well. So in both of their offices, I've always felt comfortable bringing up other things that might have been bothering me or even exciting news, because we always go off tangent in order to talk about those, which are really cool. Other things that are also fun to do is, since you do get to be really close with your professors, you can always have unique events. Things that I have done with my professors is that I've gone to one of their houses in order to make pizza from scratch. I've played basketball with my professors. I've had lunch casually outside of school without my professors. When I tell my friends from other colleges, like, you're playing basketball with your professors, they're like, really. So I think that's really cool opportunity. And you don't really only find these relationships within your major or discipline. It's all these professors want to see everyone to succeed, which I think is really cool. As a part of motorsports, I'm a mechanical engineer again, so I've had like tasks where I needed a little bit of civil engineering knowledge or electrical engineering knowledge. So I've had to reach out to professors that I've never talked before, like Professor Lee from civil engineering and also Professor Koo from electrical engineering. And they've hosted me and like had me and sat down with me in order to figure out like how I can achieve the goals that I need for this task, as if I've been having them for like a semester or two. So that's really welcoming and opening overall. And one last thing that I think is very important is that when I say your professors want to see you succeed, they do. Everyone has rough patches from now and then, so your professors do notice when you're like struggling a bit. And what I think has been really helpful is I've had professors reach out to me in these rough patches and ask me like to talk. I know at first I was like really scared. I'm like, oh, my professor wants to talk to me. That might be really scary, but you should not be scared at all. Like I've only gotten good things from them. They just want to know how they can help you, and it's been honestly kind of like life-changing in terms of classes as well. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. There definitely is a culture of care that I see. I have a question about that basketball game. Did you win?
So we played a bunch of matches. I can say I have shot a 3 on my professor.
Okay. Okay. As long as you win, that's all that matters. No, I'm playing. Alrighty. Next question is for Benny. How has your time at Cooper impacted you and informed your next steps?
I feel like this is such an interesting question because I feel like my whole worldview has changed over the past 9 months or so. So just to preface, like in the summer coming up to Cooper, I genuinely thought I had to give up a lot of my hobbies and interests coming here because I thought it was like such a small school and I'm not sure like there's gonna be people who do and like the same things that I do. And for example, I grew up playing piano for pretty much most of my life, and I didn't know if there would be anything like pianos here or enough people to form like an ensemble or whatever. But after I came to Cooper, like all those fears just like disappeared because it's just not been like that whatsoever. Like I think, especially for like the CS major, it seems like I need to do what society expects of me. For example, like software engineering or like developing AI or whatever's the craze in CS at the moment. But that's just not been how Cooper approaches things. When Cooper says it's like project-based and interdisciplinary and like you could meet other people and do teamwork and stuff, like a lot of that seems like the same keywords that other colleges use all the time and like to get people to come to their college. But that's just not how it is for Cooper. When Cooper says it, Cooper means it. Actually, my favorite class so far has been with Professor Lee. Shout out again to Professor Lee from Civil Engineering, where we were tasked to deal with an infrastructure challenge in New York City in some way. And my team developed a game that simulated the NYC subway. And it was awesome. That was actually the first game I've ever made with real art graphics because one of my teammates was extremely good at art. And for going back to the music point, I had a whole conversation the other day in a random place on this campus with a person going to Cooper about the flawed design of violas. To me, it just sounds like coping because violists are just worse, trust. But like it's just insane that I thought coming here that I would have to give up on what I liked to do previously, and it's just not been the case. There's so many ways to incorporate that into what I want to pursue academically and professionally. So I think in the end, like my current worldview right now has changed so much. I feel like it's such a vast world out there, and we're only bounded by how much we're able to throw ourselves out there and meet new people and discover new experiences. And I've actually gained a lot of random new hobbies here too. I've learned how to compose and how to arrange music for the ensemble that I'm now at yes, there are enough people here to make a very good ensemble. We've had several performances, and you should definitely come to it. Come to them if you're coming to Cooper, and definitely join our club. Well, I don't think I could advertise too much here. But anyway, yeah, I feel like it's just a big world out there, and for my next steps, I feel like I don't feel as burdened to quench myself into the grasp of what society wants from me, and to pursue and to bring my interests and hobbies into what I pursue.
My heart, I felt that. I felt it. Okay. Next question we have is for Jane. If you could share a closing thought with someone considering joining our community, what would it be?
Okay, this is when I convince you. Okay, Cooper Union is like super weird because it's really small and it's like composed of like a really special like history and like set of ideas. So it attracts like really hardworking, really thoughtful, really committed people. And it's like these are the people that hold this place together, and like they give their entire spirit to this school. So like I've had a professor like stay with me until like the building closed when I like broke down, or like I have a shop tech who comes in on his off day to fire my work. So it's like you're around people who give all of themselves to the school. And then also when you get here, like you're forever connected to the people you went to school with, but you're a part of this like larger history of everyone who went here before and everyone who will come after you. So there's this like automatic just connection and family that you're getting when you accept. And like so like from the School of Art, there's all these artists I like had on my like Pinterest board in like middle school, and I'll like have them on the wall in my studio, and my professor's like, that's my best friend, here's their phone number. And it's like, you're just like, you're so close to like so much, and people are just like so connected. And it's really hard, like it's really hard being here. I sleep so little, but that is like the only way I would want it, because I can feel myself growing in ways like I couldn't have imagined before. And there are like moments and things I've been able to do here that like are so much more than I thought was possible for my work and for like myself as a person. So like, yeah, if you give what you have, you'll get so much more back. And you're a part of something that's really special and really unique, and you're a part of it forever. So that's the pitch.
I was like, you convinced me. I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to get my second master's here. If I was good at architecture, art, or engineering, I probably would. Okay, I think that was one of the last questions that we had. But I think we still got a little time. Do you guys want to do like a quick rapid fire? Just anybody chime in? Okay.
I got something to say.
Go for it.
Benny here has put down the violist. I'm a violist. I will not stand for that. Violists are amazing. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Just had to say that.
No, I understand. I was about to, if something was said about the alto saxophone, I probably would have said something. You know.
Oh no, the alto saxophone is great.
Thank you. That's the right answer. All right. Yeah, we got a little bit of time. Rapid fire questions. Favorite place to eat around campus? Yeah.
I got Thai for thought.
Yeah,
it's like
Thai for
half
thought.
a block away.
Yes.
Really good Thai food.
Heck yeah.
There's a really good bakery.
Definitely get the Thai tea.
Oh.
There's a really good bakery on literally just down the block on 7th and 2nd Ave, Le Fournil. Great pastries, pretty good price. I could get a beignet for like $1, and it's incredible, life-changing, I'd say.
Nice.
On the topic of Thai food, I think Love Mama has a really good lunch special if you want to take a little bit more of a walk, but definitely doable in an hour break as well.
I like Thai Terminal. That's around there. That's my favorite Thai place. Okay. Let me think of something else. Best pizza in in the East Village?
Marinara, hands down, absolutely. Also, if you go there, get the mozzarella sticks. I think their mozzarella sticks are actually better than their pizza, but it's incredible.
Mine is down St. Mark's. It's called Cello's, and I like it a lot. But also, I'm from New York, and I don't believe that any pizza is best. I think it's all good.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to agree with Marinara. They not only have really good pizza, but everything is there really good. If you do go, I recommend the MVP. It's vodka, marinara, and pesto sauce on a gyro. Very good. And ask for extra vodka sauce on the side. You need that.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Okay, this pizza isn't good. But sometimes you have $2 in your bank account, and where do you go? You go to Two Bros. Like, I know people who, like, that's all they did. Don't do that. But, like, sometimes you need somewhere where you can go with $2 and you can, like, feel warmth. So
feel the warmth of a slice.
That is important to have, but just not all the time.
Okay. Favorite, a few of you have answered this, but favorite class?
I see my housing professor, so housing. But then also, I'm in the archive in the city class, and we learn about New York City and Peter Cooper and like its connection to all of New York, and I really like that class.
So I think that Cooper has a lot of great faculty that have really cool industry experience, and they bring that into the electives that are taught here. So one of the classes that I really enjoyed was 4A Optics, taught by Dean Shoup, and yeah, he's right there. It was very much like a niche subject, but it had a lot of like very core EE things that all EEs should know, and it was a lot of theory and math in it, which I really enjoyed. On the other end of the spectrum, I'm taking IC design with Professor Koo, which Sheikh mentioned. He's one of our like core EE professors here, and I really enjoy like the creative aspect of designing chips. And that's like on the other end of the spectrum, completely application-based, completely like, I mean, very relevant to the chip design industry right now, and it's preparing us really well for entering the field if we're interested in like semiconductors and designing with transistors.
I also really enjoy my bronze casting class right now. It's in the art school, and some architects can take it, some engineers are also in that class. It's really great. Every single time I tell my friends that I'm doing that here, they're like, I didn't even know that was possible. So it's a very small school, but the shop is mighty. It can do so much.
Yeah, I'd say for the School of Art, it's like, it really depends on the faculty. So I'd say Jennifer Packer, anything, like painting or drawing is usually what she teaches, but like that's someone who's like super sincere and like just can talk about anything, and it's like super important and interesting. And then I really like Adriana Farmiga Sculpture, who's also the dean. But yeah, that class is really amazing, and it attracts people who like work really hard and are really dedicated to each other. And yeah, so I repeat those classes all the time. And then Lucy Raven is someone who's like really like beloved by all the students. Yeah, there's so many classes that are amazing. And then for the other like classes, anything taught by Victor Peterson is like really good for humanities. And I'm in a surrealism class for art history that's also really great that I recommend.
Yeah, just really quick, I want to put a second on Archives in the City. That is a wonderful class to learn about the history of our school and the surrounding neighborhood. In terms of engineering classes within the civil engineering curriculum, I think I'm sitting here, I'm trying to pick one, and I can't, because even as a senior, I'm graduating in less than a month, I feel inspired and excited to go to my classes every day. I think as I have spent year after year here, I feel more and more so that the education that I've received has been truly excellent. So I will not pick an engineering class, I'm sorry.
Okay. I think that was about the amount of time that we have. So I want you all to give it up for the student panelists. Woo! Woo! All righty. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I'd stand here and talk on Abe Lincoln's podium all day, but we got to get y'all moving. All right, so thank you so much.
That was great. Thank you. Okay, thank you to our students. Now is the fun part. You've heard from our students, and now it's time for you to see these spaces that they have just spoken so fondly of. So we are going to be breaking students and loved ones up for just a little while. And just a little while, the students are going to be heading out to different areas on campus, and parents and loved ones, if you could just sit for a moment, we'll continue with your program soon after. So we're going to go by major, and towards the rear of the room on my right-hand side, your left-hand side, we're going to start with our electrical engineering students. Electrical engineers, if you can just head towards the back there, you'll be heading to 41 CS 603 in 41 Cooper Square. Electrical engineers. Electrical engineering. If our electrical engineers will get them headed out. Okay. And again, electrical engineering is headed to room 603. And next, we are going to ask our BFA majors. You'll be headed to the Peter Cooper Suite right here on the 8th floor in the Foundation Building. Our BFA majors, if you can head to the rear, Juan is standing right at the front. All BFA students. Okay, and as the BFA majors head out, as a reminder, they will be headed to the 8th floor of this building, and they will be in the Peter Cooper Suite. Okay, the next group that will be heading over to 41 Cooper Square. If you'll meet in this same corner in the front, we'll be asking our mechanical engineers. You'll be next. Mechanical engineering majors. You'll be headed to room 105. Department Chair Melody Baglione and Professor Wright and several others will be meeting you in 41 Cooper Square. And as the mechanical engineers make their way to the rear, just a reminder, you'll be in room 105, right on the first floor. Okay. Following right behind the mechanical engineers in 41 Cooper Square are our chemical engineering majors. Chemical engineering. If you can head to the back, chemical engineering majors. It looks like we have Mackay there, another one of our graduating seniors. Mackay, wave it high. There you go. Our chemical engineering majors, you'll be headed to room 427 over in 41 Cooper Square. Chemical engineering, Makai is going to be taking you out in just a moment. And there you go. Next up will be our architecture majors. Architecture students, you'll be headed to 314 right here in the foundation building. Right here in the foundation building. As you're riding the elevator, there's history about our elevator too. Who can find out today? Really cool history about the elevator in this building. I don't have a surprise, just a handshake, but it's cool history. Good trivia. Architecture majors, foundation 314. You should be heading out in just a moment. I see Amanda back there. All right. To our Shayut scholars who have been admitted to our computer science program, which is all of you. Computer science majors, you are next. If you can head right to the rear here. And our team will be bringing our computer science majors over to room 201 in 41 Cooper Square. Computer science. It looks like our computer science majors are about to head out. Computer science. And they are off to 201 in 41 Cooper Square, which leaves our civil engineers. Since I have all the civil engineers here for 30 seconds, I also want to remind you about the opportunity to pursue your dual degree, which many of our civil engineering majors do. That's where I'll stop because I see the dean here and he has fantastic things to say about all of the programs. But for now, civil engineering majors, enjoy your admitted students day. You'll be going to the back and headed to 505 and 41 Cooper Square. And don't worry, parents, we're not going to have you sit here for 2 hours straight. You'll be getting up in just a second. Students, enjoy your sessions. Civil engineering majors, you will be joining Professor Civiles and several other faculty over on the 5th floor, room 505 in 41 Cooper Square. Okay, all students should be on their way, and families, now is the time we want to give you to stretch. Use the restroom if you'd like. There's restrooms in the rear here on your right-hand side towards the back. And also we have, for anyone who is interested in trying, we have our very own Cooper Brew, which is brewed here on campus with our students and our faculty, right in the back for you to try. And we will return at 2:30 so that you can hear from our 4 deans. Enjoy the break. We'll see you soon.
ever after say, oh, I should have said that?
Oh yeah, of course. So it's not that it solves everything.
I hope everyone can hear us in the hallway and that you've enjoyed your Cooper brew and some light refreshments. If we can start making our way back into the Great Hall, our wonderful deans are ready to meet with you. If everyone can just start making your way back into the Great Hall. Oh, and don't forget to leave room for your student because they will be rejoining us in about an hour, a little less than. Okay, we're going to begin our next session in about a minute and a half. If everyone can just make their way from the lobby back into the Great Hall, we will hear from our academic deans. And to all of our admitted students and families that are joining us via live stream, welcome. Congratulations. We can't wait to see you in person soon. Come and see us in the East Village. Okay, I do want to keep the afternoon moving, and I assume some families will be joining us in the next few moments, but it is my pleasure to now introduce you to the academic deans at the Cooper Union, who are wonderful colleagues, forward-thinking leaders, and I am inviting them to introduce themselves, and I am just going to turn it over to them, starting with Dean Farmiga for the School of Art.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you to everyone for being in attendance here. Those of you that have made it back into the Great Hall, my name is Adriana Farmiga. I am the Dean in the School of Art here at the Cooper Union, and my pronoun is artist and Ukrainian. I am also a proud alumna of this institution, and I have worked here in a variety of capacities, starting with teaching mold making and plaster techniques in the late 90s to doing high school outreach for a pre-college program, then moving on to teach in the undergraduate program, and then somehow making my way into the office of the dean. So here we are, and welcome.
Well, good afternoon. Let me add my congratulations to you all for being here today. I'm Barry Shoup. I'm the Dean of the Albert Nurkin School of Engineering. I am an electrical engineer by trade. That's what my background is. I've been at Cooper for just about 7.5 years. And prior to coming to Cooper, I served 39 years in the United States Army. The last 25 were at West Point, so I taught electrical engineering at West Point. I ran a research center at West Point, and then I ultimately retired from being a department head of an electrical engineering and computer science department. Little known facts about me. I was born and raised in Fairbanks, Alaska, before Alaska was a state, so I can never be the president. And I retired as a brigadier general from the Army. So again, welcome.
Hello, everyone. I would like to echo so many here and say congratulations to you and to your student. This is such a huge accomplishment, and I hope that you can take a moment out of the hustle and bustle of today to reflect and to celebrate all the hard work that got your student here and all the sacrifices that you no doubt had to make to help them flourish in the way that they obviously have. My name is Neda, and I'm the acting dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences here. And I've been here since 2016 after I finished my PhD in comparative literature at the University of Southern California. I was hired as assistant dean in 2019, became associate dean in 2020, and this is my second year as acting dean. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. And as a fourth dean, yes, I'm going to echo as well. Welcome to you all, and congratulations to you and to your children who are now hopefully going to become students here at the Cooper Union. So I'm Michael Young. I'm the dean of the School of Architecture. I've been dean for 12 days. Not bad, huh? But I've been here as a professor for 20 years. And so this is a place I truly love and truly find to be one of the most unique educational experiences and environments in the world. And it's an honor to be able to sit at these tables with my colleagues and be taking on this role. And I'm just thrilled and excited to begin to teach your children and welcome them to the Cooper Union.
So the best way for me to start this would be, I guess, asking a question to the Dean of 12 Days, right? For Dean Young, thinking of some of the most successful students that you've known at Cooper, what habits and traits did they have? And how did they take advantage of all the different opportunities we keep hearing about at Cooper?
So maybe one of the things to start out with is to talk about how architecture is more than the design and the construction of the built environment. In order to be able to be a good architect, you have to be fully embedded and knowledgeable about culture, which means you have to learn about literature, you have to learn about music, you have to learn about art, you have to learn about the ways in which we relate to each other through all of our various expressions. But you also have to learn things about engineering, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, structural engineering. And you have to understand also the ways in which we relate to each other in terms of our politics and the culture that we share. So really, when you're being trained to be an architect, you're being trained in a kind of general education, but kind of a hardcore way in which to look at the world through the different filter of the lenses of the environments that we share in the past, today, and in the future. So our graduates as architects have done so many kind of wonderful and amazing things. Some of them have gone on to be incredible practitioners. Liz Diller, Rick Scofidio, Diller, Scofidio, and Renfro designed the High Line, Lincoln Center, a huge amount of buildings that have kind of formulated what it is to be contemporary spaces in New York. We've had other graduates who have gone on to become deans of Princeton, Harvard, Yale. We have other graduates who have gone on to become lead designers for Frank Ocean. So this is the kind of world that graduates from an architectural education at the Cooper Union, because you begin to delve deeply into what it is to be part of culture in contemporary worlds.
Thank you. Dean Ayad, why don't I ask you the same question, because you work with students from all areas of study. And I'll just reiterate that question for anyone that just joined us. Thinking of some of the most successful students you've known at Cooper, what habits and traits did they have? And did they take advantage of all the opportunities at Cooper?
Thank you, Troy. So the most successful students at Cooper are those who are open and curious, who are not afraid to try an idea, not afraid to speak to somebody they don't know, ask a question, and who, importantly, are not afraid to fail and learn to recover from their failures. I've seen time and time again first-year students who are at the top of their classes in high school come to Cooper and maybe they get their first C, or maybe they get their first F, or maybe they struggle with time management or a difficult text. It's such an honor to bear witness to that, and maybe their first failure, and to remind them that they're not alone, that this is a very normal, and that if they knew how to do everything, then they wouldn't be in college. The other thing I try to remind students of is that there are so many people here to help them, not only faculty, but we also have the Center for Writing and Learning, where students can sign up for one-on-one sessions with writing associates who can help them with anything that they're working on, ideas, writing, thinking, speaking, and the librarians who support students not only in their research, but in all ways.
Thank you. And now for the next question, I will go to Dean Shoup. How does Cooper support students academically, personally, and professionally throughout their time at Cooper?
So, at least in the School of Engineering, we've put a fairly robust structure into place over the last number of years. We have a summer bridge program where we try to do assessment of all of the skills and qualities necessary to succeed in the School of Engineering. And I want to echo my previous colleagues. You heard both of them say, we are getting the very best of the best here. And I would argue, and I do often argue, that the students that we have, that we admit, that accept and come here, could literally go anywhere. They could, in the engineering field, they could go to Caltech, to MIT, to my alma mater of Stanford, but they choose Cooper for a very different reason. So when you have a class, incoming class of that caliber, they work together. That's one of the things that's very important. This is not a competitive kind of an environment. You heard the student panel earlier talk about learning from their peers, learning from upper class, learning from others. Just a little bit over a year ago, I hired a new position into the School of Engineering, the Director of Student Success, and her entire job in life is to track incoming students, see how they're doing in different classes, and seeing how we can intervene if necessary or support them in other ways. So we have a very robust tutoring program within the School of Engineering, and we have lots of office hours, and sometimes students think office hours are where faculty close their door and stick to themselves. That's not what office hours are. That's when students come to see the faculty and get help with things. So I think we have a fairly robust program here in terms of support. And you also heard from the student panel that the faculty care. This is a small environment. I tell students, admitted students stay and others, if you want to sit in an auditorium and not be seen or have the faculty know your name, Cooper Union's not for you, because this is a very small and intimate relationship. And so you have this spectrum of students, staff, all the way to tutors, all the way to the faculty, and even the administrators. So I think it's a fairly robust, and we continue to work on that.
Thank you. And Dean Farmiga, for the School of Art, I think I'll ask the same question, and I'm actually not surprised. I'm not expecting a huge difference. It's also not a surprise to see an artist and an engineer choosing to sit next to each other at Cooper. I don't know if anyone saw as we sat down, but I do pose the question to you. How does Cooper and the School of Art support students academically, personally, professionally throughout their time here?
Thank you, Troy, and thank you, Barry. We have a few different avenues of approach where that's concerned. First, we have something that started when I became dean, which is centralized and faculty-driven advising. So each of the full-time faculty members gets a cohort of about 15 students to advise in their third and fourth years at Cooper. Typically, we also have a director of advising, we have another faculty director of advising, and because our community is relatively small compared to other colleges, we have on average 65 students in each class. It is very quickly understood that everyone is on a first name basis with each other, and that's a wonderful thing because you know where to go to if you have a question about an internship. The Career Services covers workshops like resume review, job searching, mentorship, community support. We also have a professional development fund for students to support specific career-oriented requests. We have a lunch series that brings in alumni to talk about their careers, and they can span from anything as recent alums to mid-career and emerging artists. Faculty also serve as de facto mentors, connecting students to professional networks in their respective fields. And above all, Cooper has a very broad alumni network, accomplished people across all fields and all disciplines who are genuinely excited to connect back with the school and with its current student body. And then because I also insist on teaching, which doesn't always make my workload as a dean easier, I insist on doing that so that I have a direct relationship with the student body, so I'm never out of touch with what's happening at any given point, and my door as dean is always open. So sort of a combination of all of those things, but we offer support in as many different ways as possible, and I feel strongly about that because I went to art school, and I didn't always have that, so I tried to set the model for what I want today's students to experience.
Thank you. So now I would like to turn back to Dean Ayad. Simple question, but not. So Cooper. What makes the humanities and social sciences unique at Cooper? Because we keep saying that it's not a major, but it's important. What is that uniqueness? Are there research opportunities or co-curricular initiatives? What makes HSS so powerful here? And we've heard it from the students already.
Thank you, Troy. So HSS is in a really exciting place currently. We have such dedicated faculty, true leading minds in their fields, whose research spans across the disciplines of the humanities and social sciences. So the research focus of our faculty's expertise range widely, from applied economics to social geography to Holocaust history, from the Greek classics to contemporary queer and trans art practices and theories, just for an example. We also have faculty who have deep institutional knowledge, who share with me details about Cooper alum, who have gone on to do different things. So for example, one engineering grad influenced by her classics courses in HSS went on to do a PhD in classical archaeology, and now her research focuses on heating systems and fuel consumptions in ancient Roman baths. I'm also really proud of the growing number of students who are minoring in HSS. Last year, 38 students graduated with an HSS minor, and this coming year in a month, 50 students will graduate with a minor, and 2 of whom will graduate with a double minor in HSS. Our curriculum and our pedagogical approaches are constantly being interrogated and updated so that we can do our very best to provide students the tools with which they can define their own perspectives. And the last thing that I will say is that in the last few years, many of us in HSS have been insisting on the porousness of the classroom and seeing the city itself as a classroom for students to learn from. So last year, one example, we were able to take students to the opera to watch Moby Dick for a class that was dedicated to the novel. And next week, I'm taking a couple of students to see a dance production of Sophocles' Antigone in the New York City Center, which we read in their first year seminar. And every week, 1 or 2 of art history classes are visiting different cultural centers like the Met, the MoMA, the Guggenheim, but also the Poster House, or they're doing a walking tour of the New Deal murals found all over the city. So this is just a sampling of a few things that HSS is doing.
Thank you. That's great. I didn't know that Antigone was at City Center.
Yes,
That's great.
For just 4 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Come with us.
Thank you. Now, I did want to also go back to Dean Young and architecture, because one of the things that's truly unique about our architecture program is that it's 5 years to complete the undergraduate program. Could you maybe speak to other characteristics that you think make the program unique, why that 5 years is essential, and the benefit to our students?
Yeah, so the School of Architecture has 2 programs. The largest one, which, by the way, is not all that large, it's usually 25 to 30 students a year, is the Bachelor of Architecture, professional degree. When you finish it, you have everything that you need to then go through your internship training to take the licensure exams and become a licensed architect. The other program we have is a 3-semester post-professional Masters of Architecture. Now there's a lot of things to be said about this. This is a kind of crucial degree for the training of an architect, but I think one of the things that makes Cooper unique in the ways in which it teaches this post-professional degree, the professional degree, the B-Arch, is exactly the spaces that you have seen and you are in today. So when you think about this building here was one of the first buildings to have a steel structure where they welded 2 railroad tracks together because steel I-beams at the time didn't exist. You may have been told this already because Troy hinted at it, but first passenger elevator in the United States is that circular elevator over there because Peter Cooper had a buddy named Otis. As you rise through this building, one of the most amazing shops you can ever see is on the 4th floor. When you drop down to the next floor, the 3rd floor, the big studio has all 140 of our architecture students learning together in one room. The first years meet the 4th years, the 5th years meet the 2nd years. This all becomes a space of learning. Below that, one of the best architecture galleries in the city, the Houghton Gallery that just got renovated. Below that, the library. All the way down the bottom, this space of discourse within culture for New York City has been one of the most fundamental places for that kind of activity and opportunity within the city, and then around us, the city itself. And if there's anything that's necessary for learning architecture, it's to see architecture. And I can't think of a better place to see that in its history over the past 200 years than to be in New York City.
Thank you. Dean Shoup, I'd like to revisit another theme throughout the day, and that's the interdisciplinarity experience opportunities that students have during their time here at Cooper. And in what ways have you seen during your tenure the 3 schools come together to offer different types of interdisciplinary offerings? And I might come to the other deans as well after.
Sure. So when I first came to Cooper, I came to Cooper in 2019, and as a senior administrator, at some point, you get out of doing your own research in research labs. When students start saying, "Professor, please don't touch the equipment when you come in the lab," that's an indication that you're into administration and you probably should do other kinds of things. So probably about 15 years ago now, I converted my research into innovation. So I teach a course on innovation. Right now it's called Micro and Macro Elements of Innovation. And if you study innovation, innovation really happens at the intersection of disciplines. That is where the big problems are, and that's where you really can make forward movement. And when I got to Cooper Union and I saw that there was a art school and an architecture school and an engineering school, I thought, what a wonderful environment. And then the reality set in terms of silos. And we have, in the last 7.5 years, I think we've come a long way, longer way than the student pretended up here. But we do in fact have interdisciplinary courses that are being taught and are being co-taught by an engineering faculty member and an art faculty member, or an engineering faculty member and an architecture faculty member. And I will tell you that costs money, because you're paying 2 faculty members in one course. But we are committing resources to that. And so far, a lot of the real successes that we've had are in the area of machine learning, artificial intelligence that span across the schools. You may have heard, this is the second year for launching a computer science program. We now have a computer science major. Part of the rationale for that is we weren't doing interdisciplinary work in the School of Engineering as well as we should have, and we actually started that a couple of years ago. So we had electrical engineers doing EE projects, we had mechanical engineers doing ME projects. Today, our capstone projects are much more interdisciplinary with EEs, MEs, civil engineers, and in some cases, architects on those particular projects. And so, we as a leader team have been committed and are continued to be committed in that. We just started 3 years ago. We had a very successful alum who made quite a lot of money in a business, and he attributed his success to design. Design is the foundation. He was a chemical engineer, but design was the foundation of it. And he donated, he endowed a distinguished professor of design that will now rotate amongst the 3 different professional schools. So the first 3 years it was in engineering. Next year it will rotate to either architecture or art. And that is intended to raise awareness of the interdisciplinary kinds of activities. We also had, this past year, we have an IDC foundation here in New York City, and they have funded work mostly between engineering and architecture, courses, curriculum, other kinds of things. We now have an IDC distinguished professor, one in the School of Architecture and one in the School of Engineering. These are intended to raise visibility of the importance of interdisciplinary work. So we're not there yet, but we are striving and we're working very hard to get there.
Thank you, and I'll just go to Dean Farmiga next.
Sure. I would say that the interdisciplinary ethos of Cooper Union writ large is situated in the art school, sort of in concentric circles, and it builds its way out to the other areas of the college. We are what is referred to as a generalist program, which means that we don't have our students declare majors, so that gives them the flexibility and the versatility to have a few knowledge of a few disciplines under their belts, and that by default sets them up for a very interesting and expansive way to design an art education for themselves. We recently redid the drawing curriculum, and I'm just going to read off a couple of the descriptions of the new courses. One, these are all super excited, and I wish I could take all of these classes, but I have a job here. One is called Color Lines, Social and Perceptual Activations in Line and Color, the Social and Perceptual Dimensions of Line and Color in the World and Art Making. Again, drawing class. Another one is called the Urban Studio, Drawing in Non-Traditional Materials, Non-Studio-Based Making and How It Informs Studio Practice. And these go on. We also have a computational studio which uses the ACE Lab, which is essentially a digital fabrication and makerspace. We have a course called Data Science for Social Good that has students engaging with data science, machine learning, and software engineering through collaborative projects focused on world challenges in education, equity, justice, health, and public safety. We also have a fellowship called the Benjamin Menschel Fellowship, which results in an exhibition. Students apply for this. It's very prestigious, and this is sort of the epitome of the interdisciplinary research that we help sponsor within the entire college. It spans art, architecture, design, and engineering. And these are, the best of Cooper students get the Menschel Fellowship, and what really underscores all of this is our humanities and social sciences, which all three schools shared, so all of a sudden you start to get a sense of how truly interdisciplinary we really are, even as we specialize within our disciplines in what we teach. So that's sort of just a sampling of how we handle it.
Thank you. And Dean Young in the School of Architecture, same question.
Sure. Yeah, and just to second my colleagues in art and engineering, we are 3 degrees all within one school, and the proximity itself begins to produce unexpected and exciting overlaps. But there are formal moments and formal mechanisms where the 3 schools get together as well. And just to bring up one of them is the Feltman Seminar on Issues of Light. It's a seminar that I've taught a couple times, and it's one of the seminars that is cross-listed and available between the 3 schools, between the 3 majors. And it's an amazing thing to think about, because here we are, we have something like light. Now, of course, here's a fundamental question for all architecture. What do you see? How do you bring light in? What are the ways in which this begins to relate to questions of energy? But now ask that question from the point of view of an artist. What are systems of projection? What are fields of color? What are the ways in which we begin to alter and vary our sensations of our environments through artistic works? Now ask that same set of questions from an engineering field. What is energy? What is electromagnetic wavelength? What are the ways in which we can calculate that and begin to work with that? What is optics? What are the ways in which we can begin to think through light as a digital medium? And how is that then codified and collected and taught? And all of a sudden you realize just with a word, light, you have 3 different disciplines, 3 different majors, 3 different fields of study, and they're all aiding our students to think about what it is that they do. So within that crossover, it not only broadens the ways in which students understand what it is that they're doing, but it also allows them to see that in any topic, looking at it from different points of view, strengthens and deepens your connection to that which it is that you will be doing within your life and your career.
Thank you. And Dean Ayad.
So I can speak briefly from the student side. So in HSS, we're the only faculty just infrastructurally in the way that the registrar works is that students from all 3 schools take our classes together, our core classes and then the different elective classes. And our electives range in terms of content and methodology and also disciplines across the fields of HSS. So for example, this semester we're offering a philosophy course called The Politics of Ethno-National Conflict, a creative writing course, and a history course, a history and theory of art course called Video Art, to name just a few, and then the environmental studies, sustainability courses. So our courses, they rotate every 2 years, so students really get a range. They have the choice to take as many courses as they can across as many disciplines as they can.
Thank you. Switching gears a little bit. Does Cooper offer study abroad experiences for undergraduate students? Yes, I answered that question, but I would like the deans to elaborate, and I will start at the end with Dean Farmiga again.
I can underscore that yes, we have study abroad experiences for undergraduate students in about a dozen locations. Current exchange partners include exchange programs in Amsterdam, Barcelona, Berlin, Kyoto. We just opened up a new exchange program with Shristi in India. We have Slade in London, we have Sweden, we have Mexico City, we have Paris, and we have Prague. And exchange is available to students in good academic standing during their junior year. So it's a very robust program, and students meet with the director of off-campus programs to plan and prepare their applications, and it's a rigorous process, but it inevitably brings students into a set of experiences that will be transformational that they then bring back to Cooper, and it's always wonderful to see students coming back from exchange.
Thank you. And Dean Shoup.
Sure. Yes, we also have study abroad in the School of Engineering, and we've actually expanded that. When I first got to Cooper Union, I asked about the study abroad program, and at the time we were sending students to Iceland, Germany, and Spain. And my first question was why? What is this? What is the strategic value of this? I mean, going to these places was fine, but I mean, the whole idea of a study abroad is a cultural immersion, and to gain that kind of experience. So since that time, we've added a number of other places. So we still send to Germany and Spain. We no longer send to Iceland. We now send to Singapore, Uruguay, Guatemala, Bosnia, and now we just started this year. We will start in New Zealand. I really wanted to open up Africa. I had a colleague who was a provost at a university in South Africa. Part of the issue is safety for our students, but we continue to expand because many companies are interdisciplinary and they are international companies, and so they will have members and employees around the globe, and so having engineering students get an experience in this is in my mind very important. When I first got here, we required the students to pay for the travel. Not a lot of students were going because it was kind of expensive, and they would do a cost-benefit analysis between doing a summer experience where they would get paid, an internship versus this. We now pay for all of that travel overseas. So the students also get up to 6 credits of elective credit. So they would come back and they would do 2 different kind of papers. One paper is a technical paper, and they would get 3 credits for that. The other paper is the cultural immersion. What did you learn by living in Guatemala for 6 weeks or going to Singapore for 6 weeks? And so they have the opportunity not only to do it cost-free to them, but now they also have the opportunity to get credits for that when they come back.
Thank you both, and I want to go back to something that Dean Farmiga had said early on, is that there is extensive planning needed for a successful study abroad experience, and that's usually a year to even 2 years in advance to figure out the finances. As Dean Shoup noted, the Cooper supports, but there's definitely other components, and you would work with our Vice President of Student Affairs and Dean of Students, Grace Kendall, and her team, which includes the Director of International Students and Scholar Services. They would work with you on any international documentation, along with your academic advisor within the schools, helping you on academic planning. The study abroad experience is phenomenal for those that are able to participate. I am going to go to architecture in a minute, where we've already said it's a 5-year degree, so the idea of a traditional exchange isn't as readily available if you also want to be able to graduate within that time frame. But I do believe the opportunities exist, and before I hand it over to Dean Young again, I'll say when it comes to exchange, and a lot of you and your children are thinking they took AP coursework in high school, or they might do this or that so that they can get ahead to make exchange possible. We do work with students on different types of AP coursework. It doesn't transfer in automatically in a lot of cases, but after today, anyone that has questions can contact us in admissions, and we will connect you with the appropriate advisor. We don't have the advising team here to assess those credits this afternoon, but we can certainly review that with you and your family. But Dean Young, back to opportunities for architects.
And it is true. So 5-year BArch professional degree, which, by the way, I should say we just passed our accreditation this past year, which is good, which means we have another 7 years of being an accredited architecture school. It's a lot of requirements, and so we don't have a kind of traditional study abroad program, but there are opportunities that have happened in a couple different ways. One is the studios that we teach within multiple years, but especially the 4th year being a travel, well, the 4th year being an invited student year also has an invited travel component to it. And they've gone to Mexico City, Hong Kong, Toronto, Columbus, Indiana, right? Listing all the top ones. No, but I mean this quite seriously. It's important for our students to see the world and to move into other locations and understand the ways in which different cultures and societies live. There also have been a number of exchanges that have been week-long exchanges. The one that happened most recently during spring break, 12 of our students went to the Royal Danish School of Architecture in Copenhagen and had a week-long design workshop charrette there. And then next year, those students from the school in Denmark come to the Cooper Union. So there's another way in which this begins to become an international conversation, international community through what we have available. But I will say this, because all right, so 12 days is 12 days. There are things in the work for a summer abroad program, and those are just in their early stages, and hopefully that will get off the ground in the next year.
Thank you.
Can I say that we're also working on something hopefully soon?
Oh, that's
Yes.
exciting.
Surprise.
That's great. Thank you all. So I'm going to ask everyone one more final question, and then in the next 5 to 10 minutes, our students are going to be rejoining us. They have been with all of our faculty, seeing the different labs in our different spaces that our deans have referenced throughout the afternoon, but we will probably have room for a short break, so once we conclude here, feel free to stretch again and walk around a little bit. But the final question for each dean is, what advice would you give the parents of our admitted students as they navigate their college options during the next 6 weeks? And I will start with Dean Farmiga.
I'm going to echo something that President McLaughlin said, which is to be curious and to ask a lot of questions. I think the more questions you and your family and students ask, the better it'll inform your understanding of what the institution can offer you. I would encourage you to think about location and what it means to study in New York City. Our campus is only a couple or a few buildings, but we have the entire campus of the city at our disposal, so you can go to the world's best galleries and museums and nonprofit spaces to see the best art in the world. I would also ask you to consider how you think about being in a very small community. I think our scale is, so it's sort of inversely proportional, where our scale is, I'm going to call it intimate, but we are monumental in that intimacy. And this kind of a focused community is something that you won't find anywhere else. I've taught in about 6 or 7 art schools to date, and I will say resolutely that there is no place like Cooper Union where community is concerned. And then, you want to think about where you will be challenged most. I believe Troy said that our acceptance rate was somewhere in 10 or 11%, and that means it's very difficult to get into Cooper Union, and that difficulty then turns into something where many students, when they get to Cooper, all of a sudden find themselves average because they're in a room full of students that are all part of that 10 or 11% that got into Cooper. And that creates a set of conditions for learning that is uniquely suited for that student that was very excited to complete the home test, and those opportunities and challenges persist throughout the 4 years. And Cooper Union's the best art school. I'm just going to end with that.
So I'll start by saying you all have already helped your students, okay? They are here, you are here because of your mentorship and your guidance in the past. And you should know, those in the engineering area, that when I talk to the students during our what do we call it, the acceptance day? Not acceptance day, but it's the welcome week, when we bring them in welcome week. I get all of the engineering students in the auditorium, in Rose Auditorium, and I go through, here's how you can be successful in the engineering discipline, this transition between high school and college, and a very rigorous college. And you need to know that the very last thing I tell them is call your parents on a weekly basis. Stay in contact with your parents, because your parents are the ones that helped you get here, okay? So I guess the advice that I would give you is some advice that my son got from a very learned professor. When we were doing this, we were going around looking at different schools, and the professor said to him, "It's got to feel right." So your students are here today. They may have been here previously. This is a very unique experience here, and they should already feel the uniqueness of this. They're talking to our faculty, they're talking to students, they're in our labs with techs this afternoon. And so just help them navigate that and make sure that this is the place that fits them, that they feel like they're going to be comfortable here and they're going to want to come here. You should all encourage your students to come to Cooper, because this is the best school in the nation.
I will say what my colleagues just said a little bit differently. I've never worked in a place with so many people who care so much about students, their minds, their health, their development as specialists in their fields, and their well-being. This care, of course, does not always manifest itself in the same way for everyone, but it is very palpable, and it is very inspired and inspiring.
Yeah, I guess what I'll say, there's a great New York poet by the name of Delmore Schwartz, and he has a poem which the title is "In Dreams Begin Responsibilities." And there's something that happens to students when they go through this period of time in college. And they come in and they have aspirations and thoughts, but all of a sudden they begin to find themselves. They begin to find their place in the world. They begin to find their crew. They begin to find the ways in which they can have conversations they didn't know they could have, and they begin from that to take on responsibility. And the Cooper Union is incredible for a lot of reasons. Not only its different departments and its dedicated faculty, in its history and the ways in which it does this in a very unique manner, but it also embeds your children, these students, into a community of conversations where they begin to feel that responsibility for their education, for their passions, for their dreams, and the ways in which they can take it on. Now to kind of just basically flip this, Delmore Schwartz wrote that poem about the night his mom and dad met, right? Because there's the responsibility that began in a dream. And so all of you are here today because you've taken on that responsibility to raise your kids. I have an 18-year-old. I've been going to admitted students days for the past week. I'm going to go to them next week. I'm in your chair most days. And thinking about this is kind of somewhat a little traumatic as a parent, just saying it. The idea that my son is now going to go on and do this other thing and transform into someone else who is not there within my household. But I have to say, letting go and letting them have that, but also knowing that they're going to be in a place where the people who are going to be educating them are deeply committed to the ways in which every single student here takes on the responsibility to continue to follow their dreams. And this is a place that does that.
Thank you, and to these fantastic colleagues. We will take a short break. It looks like some students are back, but we will begin again in about 5 minutes. Thank you. And I hope that I hope that you've all enjoyed your time getting to meet the faculty and explore the different facilities and labs on campus. For everyone that's still in the lobby, we're going to ask if you could please head on back into the Great Hall as we finish out the remainder of the program. There we go. So next, it is my pleasure to introduce the Dean of Students and the Vice President for Student Life, Grace Kendall, who is going to come and speak with you about all of the different opportunities in student affairs.
Excellent. Hi, everybody. I'm Grace. Welcome. We're so glad to see you all. I can't actually see any of you right now because the lights here are so bright, but I'm so glad you are all here. Congratulations on your admission. We hope we see you in the fall. I'm going to talk to you about some of the offices within Student Affairs that are here to help and support you and your students, or you as students and your students as parents and family while they are here. I think this is my clicker, so we're going to try. Yes, excellent. Okay. So the Office of Student Affairs. We are comprised of several different offices. The first one that you will encounter is Welcome Week, which I'll talk about in a second. The rest of our offices are listed here, and I will go through them in more detail in the subsequent slides. Sorry, I can't quite see what I'm doing, so sorry, I keep looking. Okay, so new student orientation. This is the first kind of major way that you'll encounter our office if you choose to come to Cooper. We welcome you to campus the week before classes begin. If you're living in the residence hall, you will move in during that week. We will have a number of sessions that welcome you to campus and help teach you all the things you need to know. Some of the things to go over, there we go. We anticipate, and we're fairly confident in this, that Welcome Week will begin on August 24th. There will be a number of different events on community building, expectations of being a student, all the different resources available to you on campus, the various resources our office offers in terms of helping you adapt to campus life, teaching you the things that you need to know to succeed here at Cooper before you jump into your academic programs. In relation to orientation and Welcome Week, one of the things that I want to highlight is that your health forms will be due on June 5th. They are uploaded via Slate. Please try to get those in on time. If you don't, you will start getting very persistent emails from some folks in my office who are trying to make sure that everyone has what they need to in order to join our community in the fall. Segueing from there, we have the Office of Student Care, which, oh, thanks for the lights, which goes over mental and physical health things. So within student care and support, we have three folks working. We have Alex, our assistant dean, who is also the person who manages all disability accommodations. So if you're someone who receives an accommodation, Alex will work with you to transition those from your high school plan to your college plan. We also have two student counselors, Cassandra, who is our associate director, and Micah, who is our student counselor, who will meet with students kind of as needed to help them connect with outside care, to help them if they're just having a really hard moment and they need someone to talk to. In addition, they'll explain things like how to access our 24/7 virtual health platform, TELUS and First Stop Health. First Stop does kind of physical health, and TELUS is more mental health care. For First Stop Health, if you wake up and you are just feeling really sick, you're running a fever, you can roll over in your bed and connect to First Stop Health, see a doctor for a telemedicine visit. You don't have to drag out to one of the local urgent cares unless that first person at First Stop Health tells you need to maybe go get some sort of testing done that they can't do on a virtual appointment, like a strep test or something like that. They can provide notes from doctors to verify that you have a documented illness that we would then share with your faculty, to encourage perhaps that you not go to class that day if you are contagious. The student care also manages our health insurance plan, which is an external plan that runs through Cigna to provide health care or access to health care and insurance for students. And they also plan a number of kind of wellness events in general. They'll put out tabling with some like stress relief things. They bring in therapy dogs once a month. So if you are a dog person, you can hang out with some of our local therapy animals. There's chair massages periodically through the semester. Lots of different things to help support your well-being while you're here. As you transition to college, some of the things to consider are, in terms of your well-being, like if you have ongoing health concerns or ongoing mental health concerns, you want to really make a plan for how that's going to happen here, especially the farther you are from home. So if you're local, you can probably still see the doctor that you've been going to throughout your life. If you're from farther away than an easy subway ride, you want to make a plan about how to get a primary care doctor, how to transition your mental health care to a local provider, if you have any prescriptions that you'll need to get refilled, like what's your plan for that as you're going to college. The best way to reach out to those folks is to just simply email studentcare@cooper.edu, and the most appropriate person will respond to your message. Our next office within the Student Affairs is Career Development, which I will talk about briefly because you'll hear from Whitney in about 25 minutes, I think. So our Center for Career Development provides a number of different services. As I mentioned, Whitney is here, and she will talk more in detail about her office. She's our amazing Director of Career Services, the Center for Career Development. She's assisted by our two other staff members, Dannery and Janet, who help with providing one-on-one career counseling appointments for students. They give advice about resumes, about the job search, about cover letters, and they also plan a variety of programs throughout the year, which Whitney will talk about in more detail. I don't want to steal her thunder. Next within our office is the International Students and Scholars Office. The staff in this office is directed by Hala, who is our kind of main full-time person working with international students, and then two other folks in our office also assist with things like travel signatures, issuing student visas, or the I-20s so that students can request and be approved for their visas. They provide advice about getting OPT and CPT, which are options for students to work while they're here on F1 visas, and generally answering any questions and concerns that international students face while they're here. Moving along, residential life and housing. If you want to apply to live on campus, you will do that through our housing application. It is currently live. Our priority deadline to apply for housing is May 15th. We provide housing as much as we can. We can normally meet the full need. We normally can meet the full interest of first-year classes, but we don't guarantee housing. If you're interested in housing, please go ahead and apply. It doesn't cost anything to apply, so if you're still considering whether you want on-campus housing or not, please apply. You're more likely to get it than you are to get it in August if you change your mind. Most of our rooms are double rooms. We have apartment-style housing, which means that it's 2 to 3 bedrooms sharing a common space, so sharing a kitchen and sharing a bathroom behind a door to the hallway. So like it's an apartment with different bedrooms that students share, and then they share the common spaces. There are 4 units per floor. We have about 160 spots in the building for first-year students. Our housing director is Victoria, and she works with the student RAs that we have in the building and helps our students who live there with their various problems, facilities issues, roommate concerns, general questions. We are there to help. We also have a team in student life. Student activities and athletics is kind of all rolled into one here at Cooper. We have one kind of intercollegiate sports team, which is the soccer team. We have a variety of student clubs and organizations. You heard Lamia talk about the badminton team earlier. They're very active. They play kind of on a more club basis. We have local teams that play in city leagues for basketball and volleyball. We have a variety of other things that don't require any athletic ability, because I don't have any, so I would not have been, none of those would have helped me as a student. But we have lots of events on campus, both sponsored by our office and that we support that students plan and run themselves. Cultural nights, just kind of social things. There's a talent show, which I think is in 2 weeks from today. Might be next weekend, I can't remember off the top of my head. Lots of things for you to explore your interests. If you have a really passionate interest that we don't have a venue for, we'll help you start a new club. There's clubs about all kinds of things. We've had cheese clubs, there's a tea club, there's painting club. As Lamia mentioned, there's things related to your major. We have a wide variety of professional kind of organizations and competition teams in the School of Engineering. If you have an interest, we will probably have a place for it. And again, if not, we'll help you start one. So here are some of our examples. Sinclair, who was on the student panels, as he mentioned, is one of our student ad chairs through Student Council. They're very active in advocating for their fellow students and helping us plan and address issues that arise. I'm going to quickly go through a few photos, and then I will kick it on to the next thing. So as you can see, these are some of our students in their out-of-class fun activities, doing a wide variety of things. So in making your decision, I hope this information was helpful. I will be floating around later after this. If you have questions specific to you, I'd be happy to chat with you. And in closing, thank you so much for coming here, for considering us. We hope you see you in the fall. And I will turn it over to my colleague, Kit Nicholls, who is the director of the Writing Center.
All right. Got to keep track of time. So, what a pleasure to see you all here today. There we go. Words are our trade. We speak them hard. We speak them soft. We do not push the hand that writes. The times do that. We are our age's mouthpiece. So I'm guessing not a lot of you in the audience actually feel this way about words. You're here because you have been accepted into Cooper Union. Congratulations. I've been here 20 years. I have a deep, deep love for this place. But language is not usually the first thing people think of when they're coming to Cooper. And what would it mean anyway to be your age's mouthpiece, to use language to actually express something meaningful about your place in history? What are words even, right? I think everybody here is used to working in other media. Things, objects, designs, math, plans and sections for the architects. So what are words? Ralph Waldo Emerson called words fossil poetry, which is a very strange phrase, right? He meant that every word in a way contains a kind of metaphor, like an attempt to try to understand reality and translate it into an abstract symbol. Ursula K. Le Guin, she saw words as literally living beings. In her mind, words would form communities. They do things we don't expect them to. If we try to misuse them, they might revolt against us and do things we don't want them to ourselves. Walter Benjamin, a famous philosopher, had an especially strange way of thinking about what words were. His idea was that everything communicates itself through language. In other words, there's already a communication happening between all things in the world, and our language is just an attempt to catch that. It's like the echo, right? The resonance of reality. It's a really beautiful way of thinking about language. So I think we can all agree that words do things. They help us set up a chance to get a coffee with a friend, right? They help us cajole people into doing things. Words cause things to happen. But words seem to be getting cheaper, right? I think that's probably a fair statement. Between AI, and I probably don't need to go too far into how AI might be cheapening our sense of what language is, but between AI and, of course, just the sort of general slop that we live within, the tendency to use language primarily as rage bait, right? Or, POV videos, get ready with me, right? This is what we live within. These are our acts of communication. This is the care, or the lack of care, that we increasingly show language, and that language shows us. And then there's a special category of words, the words that you use when you're handing an assignment in. So here I'm especially talking to the students in the room, but the parents, we all know we've got to produce our own kind of slop at work sometimes? How often do the words that we use in institutional settings feel like they're really like a sign of the times? Feel like we have a stake in constructing our reality and intervening in reality? And think about the relationship you, the student, have in your writing with your teacher. You have to crank out as many words as you can, right? You have all these deadlines to meet. Often writing feels inefficient. Reading feels inefficient, right? You've got so much else to do. So this is not a great recipe for literature. This is not a recipe for meaning. But writing and reading and conversation, right? These are the things that we all actually need. They're our sustenance in the everyday. Here at Cooper, so much of what you do in the three schools will happen in language, right? It will happen out loud, it will happen in writing, it will happen in your reading. And so, right, you know it's good for you, don't you? Don't we all? And here I want to really make sure that you all know I'm also speaking to the parents, right? We're all so distracted. Our attention spans are blown. We have a sense that there's just so much to get done. Well, I have good news for you. The Cooper Union has a truly unusual and really, honestly, exceptional approach to this problem, right? This problem of attention and language and how we can actually use words to construct and have some degree of agency in our realities. So that starts, for admitted students, with your access to the Summer Bridge program. And at the end of my comments, we will put a QR code up so you can register for the program. So the Summer Bridge program is free in the spirit of the Cooper Union. And that free, which by the way you should always know at Cooper, means not just, right, that we're trying to offer everybody the most affordable education we can, right, but that our approach to inquiry and to learning is free in that deeper philosophical sense. And that holds for the Summer Bridge program. It's entirely online. You can register either for both and thinking groups, which are small groups organized among peer mentors from Cooper Union students, incoming students, and people who work with me in the Writing Center. And we would get together weekly for a couple of hours just to have an opportunity to work through some of the core reading, writing, thinking, and speaking and listening skills that you're going to need to be successful at the Cooper Union. We build those times, by the way, around your schedule. So if you do indeed register, which I hope you will, you can actually tell us your availability, and we will try to schedule sections so that they can actually meet the largest number of students possible. I know you guys are all busy, you have family trips, you have jobs in many cases, so we do our best to meet you where you are. The other part of the bridge is workshops, and these are one-off opportunities to actively learn key skills and ways to operate within the institution. So for example, we might address, I have offered this workshop myself, you're going to encounter some giant words, right? Some big, complicated theoretical words, and you're going to feel like you're the only person in the room who doesn't know that word because people are throwing that word around. I'll just give you a little insight first, right? A lot of the time, nobody really fully knows what the word means, right? Everybody's kind of faking it until they make it. We can help you in these workshops learn the skills that you need to hold your own, even in a case where you're kind of making it up, right? Fake it till you make it. But then, you do actually need to know. So, once the academic year begins, then you will enter into two key things. One, everybody will be enrolled in the Humanities and Social Sciences core curriculum, which our dean, Nada Ayad, spoke to the parents about not too long ago. And so I will not say too much about that. Other than that, this is an amazing opportunity to enrich your learning. And the Humanities and Social Sciences are not merely sort of off to the side of the three schools, right? Peter Cooper, in his founding idea of the college, wanted you to have an opportunity to think deeply about urgent issues politically, about literature and history, to really understand the active work of making a democracy function. The other thing, though, that will start when the academic year begins is the Center for Writing and Learning's, maybe now I'll move this forward, if I can, maybe. Well, okay, that's all right. Well, unless, no. Okay, never mind. Oh. Okay, so anyway, the Center for Writing and Learning offers ongoing sessions, which are a pretty unique opportunity. So, there we go. Okay, in the very first week of classes, and in fact, starting the Friday before classes start, during Welcome Week, you will have an opportunity as an enrolled Cooper Union student to set up a meeting to talk one-on-one with me or with my administrative director, who's not here today, John. He's lovely. And we will sit down with you and we will figure out what your schedule's like, what you're looking for as you try to develop as a writer, speaker, thinker. And then we will handpick one of our professional staff members of 20 of us, most of whom have PhDs, some with MFAs. And you will get a meeting with that person 45 minutes a week for the entire term. So just think about what that offers you as a student, right? That kind of teaching relationship is very rare. It is just part of your life at the Cooper Union. We try to get as many students in as we can. Over the course of your 4 or 5 years at Cooper, do yourself a favor if you choose to come here, which I hope you will, and avail yourself of this opportunity to get that one-on-one intensive work on your writing. You can bring anything that you're thinking about or working on in, even if it's outside of classes. We are just here to help you in your long-term intellectual growth. So, that's Steven. He works in the Writing Center. He's a lovely guy. Very, very calm presence. Steven is a historian, medieval historian, by the way. We've got a volcanologist on staff, of all things, who's also an archaeologist. We have people who work in various kinds of creative writing. We have people with law degrees on staff. We have practicing architects on staff, and also very successful practicing artists. We run the gamut. So, this is my pitch to you. I really hope that you will sign up for the Summer Bridge program. It's an amazing opportunity to start getting your feet sort of like running along at the pace you're going to need to run at Cooper. It's very friendly. You'll have a chance to meet other incoming students, not just at the level of being friends, but also at the level of thinking together. So I hope you make use of this. I will see, I'm sure, a lot of you during Welcome Week in a few months. Thanks.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Whitney Oldenburg. I'm the director for the Center for Career Development. I spend most of my days meeting with students, most of my time, and I help them figure out what they want to do, how to get to where they want to do, and navigate the uncertainty during that time. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a brief presentation on all that we do, and then I'm going to have a few alumni come up and speak about their own experience. For starters, our office hosts 400 to 650 one-on-one meetings per year. We also meet with alumni, so a lot of it is highly customized individual time with students. We also have a pretty comprehensive job board where we have a curated job feed that we actually pay extra for each school. So it's a much more focused job board than what you'll get at LinkedIn or other offerings And we also have an internal portal that's pretty darn comprehensive. So we'll have everything from application examples as well as interviewing prep, but also industry information and resources that students can access at all times. And then certainly not last but not least, we have upwards of $36,000 that we devote just to student professional development. So that can go towards funding students to go to engineering conferences all over the country. It could go towards art students taking rug weaving. It can go towards all sorts of things to support students. Now I will break down kind of a few programs that we do per school. It's kind of a lot to rattle off, but we do quite a lot. So for all of you who are the future art students in the room, we offer an art internship program twice a year. The art internship program, it provides $20 an hour of funding even if you receive a job that's unpaid. So if you want to work for a professional artist or a nonprofit and they're unable to pay you or unwilling to pay you, you can always apply to this program and receive funding. It's allowed many students who can't afford to take an unpaid internship be allowed to have a great experience in the industry. We also host specialized workshops, so we've covered everything from the basics, from resume, material building, job searching, but we've also brought in an expert who works with artists for budgeting. We've also brought in working artists for the greater economy, known as WAGE, that brings equity within the arts. We've had an MFA panel where we've had directors from the top MFA programs come. So every year we think of kind of, what is the topic we're going to cover, and we change and adapt each semester. And then in addition to those workshops, we also have a See You at Lunch or See You at Dinner program where we bring recent alumni back to speak about their experience post-Cooper and to also speak about what their job search looked like. And it ends up being a very nice, intimate workshop where students can ask anything, from how much are you paid to how did you get this job. So that's one of my favorites for sure. And on staff, we actually have practicing artists. So there are very customized and specialized help with applications and portfolio reviews. For the future architects in the room, we host an architecture career night. So it's a career fair specifically for the architecture students. So we'll have 15 firms come to campus. And they're usually all hiring, and it's a great opportunity for students to share their portfolio, receive a portfolio review, and potentially land a job. We also do an annual portfolio review, so students can sign up and indicate what they're interested in, and then I personally match them with a professional in their field from the firm that they desired or from an adjacent industry. Those are really great. They last around 45 minutes, and it's pretty cool because students can meet with someone in Singapore or California and get feedback on their portfolio. We also run the See You at Lunch series at the School of Architecture, so we bring in alumni to also speak about their experience post-Cooper. And we also have an alternative career speaker series. So we had somebody come in and speak to exhibition design. And last but not least, we also on occasion do a firm tour, which is always a lot of fun, and students enjoy that as well. For the School of Engineering, we run a job and internship fair twice a year. We have about 30 to 45 employers that come each time. We also host regular info sessions, so we'll have 5 to 10 per semester. We've had companies such as Hovione, J&J, PepsiCo, SpaceX, we've all had them on campus. It's really a great opportunity for students to speak directly to recruiters or to alumni who are currently working there and learn more about the company, and also how to get hired at those companies. One of our events that it's become one of my favorites is we have the 3-on-1 alumni networking dinner. So we invite about 15 to 20 alum to come to dinner at Cooper, and we have 3 students per alum, and we have a nice dinner, and students sit down with the alum and are able to have a full 2-hour dinner with the alum and ask questions. It's been turned into a really great mentorship opportunity, and students have really enjoyed doing it because it's not really timed, and there's no sort of pressure with how to approach alum, and so it's turned into a really nice event that we run twice a year. Our specialized programming for the School of Engineering ranges. We really kind of span all industries. Maybe one example that comes to mind is we had a careers in robotics event where we had about 12 professionals that work in robotics, and it was a Pecha Kucha format. So each professional had 3 minutes to present, and then they were booted off stage. And so students got a sense of all the different things that they can do in robotics, how to get there, and then they had an opportunity to network with those professionals afterwards. In addition to that, many employers want to hire Cooper students, so they ask for their resumes, and we conduct resume collections every single semester. So that also has led to lots of employment opportunities. For the parents in the room who are most interested probably in the outcomes, 3 out of 4 students of the Cooper Union end up employed or in graduate school about 6 months, no more than 6 months out of graduation. It's a fairly high number, I would say, because that also doesn't include the students who are choosing to take a gap year, to travel, to go abroad. And some of the employers, just to share, for the School of Engineering, we have students ending up in AECOM, Amazon, Bloomberg, Estee Lauder, General Motors, Tesla, Google, Intel, SpaceX, Hewlett-Packard. For architecture, we have students ending up at Gensler, Obra, Transolar, Superstructures, Shigeru Ban, SOM. And for the School of Art, we have students ending up at the Whitney Museum, Place Corp, Department of Environmental Protection, Brooklyn College, and working for a number of professional artists. For the grad schools, our engineering students end up at Johns Hopkins, UPenn, Carnegie Mellon, Columbia, Princeton, Georgia Tech. The School of Art, students end up at Yale, Rutgers, Penn, Columbia, and Bard. Architecture, many do not go on to graduate school just because they have the ability to become licensed after their 5th year. Without further ado, we will have, just give us a minute or two, but we will have our alumni panel. And coming up to join me will be Yeji Kim. So Yeji is a School of Art alum. She graduated in 2022. Yeji, come on up. And Yeji currently works at Google. She primarily works in projects on YouTube. We also have Stella Blue. So Stella Blue is a 2021 School of Architecture graduate. Stella has worked in a variety of different architecture firms, but most recently works at EDG doing restoration and is pursuing licensure. And then we have Zephaniah Odiduka. Zeph is the co-founder and COO of Global Key Solutions and graduated in 2025 as an electrical engineer. So I think maybe I'll just join you because it feels very strange. Hello? Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for joining me. I think just to get started, if we could go around and if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and speaking to your journey post-Cooper, where did you work, how well prepared do you feel post-Cooper? Zeph, do you want to start?
I can start. Hello, everybody. My name is Zephaniah Odiduka, Zeph for short. I graduated in May, so mine is probably not going to be as extensive as theirs are. So I got an offer from Constellation Energy, is a nuclear power plant in Rochester, New York. I declined that offer full-time to start my own company. I started it my junior year while at Cooper here, and we currently are based in Brooklyn. At a high level, we do data analytics for pharmaceutical companies, so we work with some top 20 pharmaceuticals, J&J, Sanofi, and some mid-tier companies that probably no one would know here, but yeah.
Amazing. Yeji?
Hi, I'm Yeji. I graduated from the School of Art back in 2022. While I was at the School of Art, I kind of did everything because I couldn't make up my mind. So I did a mix of painting and drawing, a lot of printmaking, as well as graphic design. After graduating from Cooper, I got a fellowship at the Oxbow School of Art in residency, which is located in Southwest Michigan near the lake. So it was beautiful. I spent the summer there, did the whole residency thing, and realized, oh, there's like a lot more fine print that comes along with being an artist. So I thought, okay, I should probably look into getting more of like a full-time job to help me pay for rent and maybe a studio, art materials, etc. So I started off working at a nonprofit called the National Audubon Society, where they do bird conservation and whatnot. Met an awesome mentor there, did a bunch of like bird drawings and illustrations, as well as like making graphic collaterals for policy actions and whatnot. And after that, I worked as a designer at Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, where I worked in their marketing and communications department as a graphic designer. So I did a lot of like educational identities, as well as working with like specific departments to make collaterals for them. And then after that, a friend from my year in the art school actually referred me to a contract role at Google at a department called Android XR, which basically deals with a lot of like extended reality platforms and hardware like glasses and headsets. Did a little bit of that, and then I got an offer to be a fellow at the New York Times. So I spent some time at the Times working as an art director as well as a newspaper designer, learned a ton there, met a ton of people. And recently I was then offered a role at YouTube as a visual designer full-time, so I took that, and it's been a few months since. But yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Hello, hi. My name is Stella Blue. I graduated in 2021 from the architecture school. So when I graduated, it was kind of the tail end of COVID. It took me a little bit of some time to find my path. I hopped around a bit. I was in some design firms, and then I started doing some hospitality design, which I liked, but I felt like I was missing a connection to my built environment. From there, in 2022, I was working at Superstructures for 3 years, where I became involved in restoration, exterior restoration, which I really like. It allowed me to be super engaged with the context of the city and learn more about buildings and just like constructability. I spent 3 years there, and now I'm at EDG as a restoration project coordinator, working with mostly private sector buildings on like 30 different projects throughout New York City, restoring some of New York's like oldest preservation landmarks and things like apartment buildings that we all live in every day. So it's been a lot of fun.
Looking back, what was one thing at Cooper that you were like, oh wow, this really helped me post Cooper, that maybe you didn't realize it at first?
So, as an architecture student, you're gonna be making a lot of models. I love to get like dirty and involved with my materials, and that really helps like as an architect to design things that can be built and constructability. A lot of times, like when you're designing, you're not thinking about how it can actually be built. But at Cooper, upstairs in the shop, you're able to work with welding, woodworking, plaster. Like I casted a concrete column, and I got to like really be physical with my materials, which a lot of schools don't offer the ability to get super involved in that. Also, just being inspired by the city, like being able to like walk down Canal Street and pick up like a piece of rubber and like use that in a model, and think about how that like impacts building, is really like special. You can't divorce Cooper from the context of New York City, and like learning architecture in one of the world's best cities like cannot be replaced.
Yeah, I think for me, it's resourcefulness and critical thinking. I mean, I'm sure there are art students here. Like, as you can tell in the home test, like a lot of, I feel like the pedagogy and the assignment that you kind of receive within class and sort of the things that you're being stretched to consider and think about are wildly different from class to class. And that really isn't that much different than like what I do at work. I'm constantly given like very vague questions or very vague considerations of like, okay, how can I consider this to create something that is actually tangible, and how do I defend that? So I think like the critique structure helped me a lot, and also just like having critical thinking in like my skill set is definitely helpful in terms of like being able to challenge things if something doesn't feel right, and being able to kind of ask questions to my colleagues and be like, oh, have we considered this viewpoint or that viewpoint, and create a more well-rounded discussion if needed.
That's a tough question. I feel like everything at Cooper helps. I would say for where I am at currently, the ability to lead in a way that, I wouldn't say unconventional, but just the ability to lead. My freshman year, I was able to start the National Society of Black Engineers from the ground up. It was at Cooper, but it was never a thing when I came. So with the ability with some professors, I was able to go to a conference, and then it's my second, third year with the help of the Career Development Center. I was able to go to my other conferences, and also I was able to take 6 other people with me. So without the Career Development Center, that wouldn't have been possible. Thank you very much. And currently in my role now, I think, actually, I was working with Whitney. Whitney was telling you about the stats around, of the last 10 years. We essentially look at all the graduates, and we saw where they ended up. So doing that 3 years ago has helped me where I am at now, because we do data analytics, and without Whitney telling me, okay, you should do this, you should look at it like this, that mindset really helped me. So thank you.
I promise I did not tell him to say that. Not at all, but thanks, Steph. Maybe on that note, what's something that you had to do at Cooper that you don't think you'd be able to do anywhere else that impacted your future?
I could take it away. So with the proximity of the art and engineering school, I was able to take so many electives in the other schools, which I used to my full advantage. I was trying to take as many electives outside of architecture as possible, because I knew once I graduated that was going to be the role that I would be in. So I took a lot of fun of electives, like engineering electives such as musical instrument design, sound art in the art school. I took 2 semesters of performance art, and those electives informed the representation of my design in the architecture school more than some of my architecture electives did. One of my fondest memories is in my analysis semester in 3rd year in Diana Agris's semester, her course. And I was taking sound art at the time, and you're tasked to design or to analyze a building. And my building was a car factory in Leipzig, Germany. And one of my final models was a sound piece of the perspective of a car being built. and that was a lot of fun. I like took like the whole juror into a room and set up like speakers everywhere, and then had them like, you know, live out this experience of a car being constructed all through sound. And you can't really do that elsewhere. There's the proximity of the schools and the ability to take those courses like really defined how I represented my architecture designs, and that was a lot of fun.
I feel like you kind of stole my answer, Stella, because my answer was also just like the ability to kind of take anything and everything that the school offers. And I think that's like really something that I've seen after Cooper in terms of like getting to make friends who like went to SVA or getting to make friends who went to RISD, like just seeing like how different our experiences were in terms of like, oh wow, we were like really able to get like a more well-rounded perspective, especially as like artists and makers. And I feel like that also like definitely helps me be like, oh wow, like I guess I was really like fortunate to have been able to take like pretty hardcore design classes by Barbara Glover, or take like sculpture, like take like a weird sculpture and art history hybrid taught by like Cristobal and Raffaele, or like take an animation class and whatnot. But I think those things are definitely things that I could have only gotten to experience at Cooper.
That's a great question. I would say, one, I remember my freshman year, it was orientation. Dean, what's his name? It was a dean.
Barry?
Yes.
Barry Shoup.
Sorry, yes, Dean Shoup. Apologies, I hope you're not in the crowd, I'm so sorry. He said, New York City is your campus, and he's not wrong. You know, sure, you have NYU over there, but NYU has a camp, like Washington Square Park is NYU, but New York City is your campus. Once you leave these two buildings, you will not see Cooper. Cooper doesn't display, oh, this is Cooper Union. So having that ability is really nice. And I think the biggest thing is having a small school is really important for most people, and for me especially. You get to know your professors. The professor will know if you don't go to class, so make sure to go to class. And you will also meet people even outside your major, and they're extremely approachable. You know, I can go to the art school or the architecture school, cross the street and walk in and talk to anyone. So people are extremely welcoming here as well, so.
I'd maybe just add to that, that I think at a very small school, you get to, as someone on staff, you get to know students really well. So I'm still in touch with many alum and see them outside around New York City or grab coffee occasionally. So that's something I think kind of unique to Cooper. If you think about your post-Cooper path, what was one thing that surprised you about being out in the working world? Because I feel like Cooper is a lot of work.
One. Yeah. I would say one thing that surprised me, okay, everyone here got admitted into Cooper. I can say that with confidence. So you are all intelligent. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You are top of your class in high school. Going outside of Cooper and starting to work, you will start to find people, I'll put this nicely. Some people aren't as intelligent as you are. It will be a shocker. You will genuinely meet people and you're like, how did you graduate? So Cooper, you will be around extremely intelligent people, and like I said, you're all number one in your school now. And coming to Cooper, you know, there's got to be only number one. But you know, you have to ask yourself, is it better to be number one on a not the best team, or to be a bench player on the best team? And if you're a bench player on the best team, you're going to learn from the best. You will take away so much more than you will ever imagine. And the people, your classmates, will also teach you so much that you would have probably never even understand. The amount of times I got tutored from my classmates, I don't think I would have graduated Cooper if I didn't have that. So take that into account.
How being a student is different from the working world, that was the question, right?
Or your big, a surprise being out in the working world?
Well, working as an architect is very different than studying architecture. I think I had a lot of friends that really enjoyed the study of architecture, but not so much working in the field. For me, finding the niche of restoration, there was definitely a lot of trial and error. I mean, I worked at a lot of different firms as interning and also post-grad. And it's hard to kind of find the right fit, especially like with the size of firm, like the type of leadership. But something that really helped being a student here is understanding like the importance of managing your time, the importance of like thinking outside the box. Like there's so many times where I'm in the field and a contractor will ask me like, hey, how do you do this? And like I can't be like, hey, professor, like how do I like reconstruct this 3-wide wall? Like you can't do that. So obviously thinking like outside the box, thinking on your feet, and being able to talk to a lot of different kinds of people is really important. And I think that's something you all were talking about or speaking to. Like being a student here, you are interacting with people from all different kinds of backgrounds and different skill sets. And working as an architect, you're constantly, talking to the owner, talking to the contractors, talking to the crew members, talking to community board members that maybe don't like what you're doing. And that's obviously different from being a student, but I think, there is a lot of similarities, and the skill set you learn as a student here, you'll be able to take that with you to the working world. And maybe, you're not sitting down for a critique twice a week like you are as a student, but you're still using those skill sets and most importantly, learning how to communicate to people and communicate your design.
Yeah, I think for me, it's really more about the affordability aspect of making art. So as I mentioned earlier, I went to an artist residency on a fellowship after graduating, and I think that's what made me realize, being an artist is kind of if you're not, I'm someone who comes from more of a lower middle class background, and it's how do you kind of take yourself seriously enough to make art, A, but also B, how do I create the infrastructures to support that myself without any institutional or familial support? For example, when I was at Cooper, I was able to take advantages of the programs here. I was interning for Poster House in Flatiron, and I talked to Whitney and I was like, hey, I got this job, but they can't pay me. And she was like, oh, we have this grant, you should apply for this grant and try to get this job. And that job also helped me grow a lot. But I think when I got out into the working world, it was just how much of a grind it was to A, make a living, but B, find enough time and find enough space to be able to make art and to set that time aside. And it is something that I'm still admittedly trying to juggle and trying to figure out. But I think Cooper really helped me make friends who also struggle with the same things that I'm kind of facing right now. And we're able to become each other's support systems, and we're able to talk through and critique each other's works even outside of the school setting. And yeah, I think that was the biggest shocker for me.
Okay, we have to wrap up pretty soon. So in one sentence, why are you glad you chose Cooper?
I'm not in debt because of art school, and I was able to get a really good education out of it. So I think it was a really good deal, and I'm really happy about it.
Great.
I mean, learning architecture in one of the greatest cities in the world, alongside a variety of faculty from different places, really deepened my love for the built environment. And I think that's one sentence.
It counts.
This is hard.
Yeah.
One sentence. I'm still thinking. The community here and the academics, even though it was very tough, built resilience, and I don't think I could have got that anywhere else.
Well, thank you. Maybe a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You started your own company. I like it. I'll tell you about it. I love that. Okay. How about another applause for our young alums? So this concludes the main portion of our program this afternoon, and we are going to head to a reception, but as I've been listening to the sessions today, I'm going to go off script for a second. As I've been listening to the sessions and the themes throughout the day, one thing I always like to share with students and families when we're meeting individually is Cooper Union is not a competitive environment. We want students and community who are going to be collaborative. We are a community of scholars. This isn't a competition. This is about how can we make the world a better place together. And I hope that that has come through throughout the afternoon and during the months and years that you have been learning about this institution. As we kind of prepare to wind down and move to our reception at Grace Church School, I just want to let everyone know I'm going to release you in smaller groups, and to be mindful in that space there are 2 elevators, but there are several flights of stairs. So for anyone who does have difficulty with stairs, you're welcome to use the elevators over in that space. Our faculty, our deans, our students are waiting to, again, continue any conversations or have some for the first time. But thank you all again for coming this afternoon. I will start releasing the different groups, and I will see you over at the Grace Church School. I am going to start on the far end of the room over here. Everyone in this section, if you can just gather your things. Alicia is waving Peter Cooper's head, and she will bring you right on over.